Hello, welcome and welcome back. This is Jacob and today we are going to be continuing the narration and character voice acting for the side story Here Are People SOWS. Alright everybody, part 3, so let's get this on the road, shall we? But before we do so, as always, to anybody who bumps into the voiceover through this very episode, you can find the full playlist for this in the description of this very video, together with all the other SUI storylines that have preceded this one. So if you haven't had the opportunity yet to experience this entire saga from start to where we are currently, you can do so very easily. Enjoy, and thank you very much. And as always, thank you guys very much for all the views, likes and comments that you leave on the videos. They really mean and help a lot, as I always say, so thank you very much. And keep on coming. But yeah, thank you very much, because engaging with you guys is always fun in those comment sections, and of course they sometimes bring out some very interesting and very cute tidbits. Like, for example, what I learned on all the way back on part 1, I kind of forgot to mention that on the previous intro for part 2, but what I learned was essentially that apparently in the Chinese community, Zuola is apparently nicknamed with Blueberry Shortcake. Because yes, he is a shorty, but I hope that is meant in a very cute manner, because that does sound very cute, and I'm all for that. Very fitting. I will not lie. So yeah, thank you guys for those types of comments, and obviously all the other ones. Really appreciate it. And they do bring quite a lot of little fun tidbits like that one out, and yeah, thank you. But alright, let us begin with the usual recap. If you want to skip that, you can find the timestamp down in the comment section below in the pinned comment, and you will be right at the beginning of today's part. But for now, let's begin on the previous part. Last time we pretty much began with our two sisters, Nian and Dusk, discussing the appearance of the uninvited brother, aka Yi, as for now they don't know what he is actually after that he has appeared uninvited here in Dahuang. Our younglings essentially are also having their own little moment as Hasheng and Grainbutts essentially run into our titular younger Sui sibling, as our dear merchant brother offers the two of them a wish, and the only thing they need to pay him with is something that they value a lot. Just something that is high value to them. It doesn't have to be monetary, physical, just has to have some value to them. Grainbutts jumps immediately on board to offer a wish, and she offers a song essentially that she composed for Hasheng. But before Hasheng can do something, and Grainbutts in the meantime wandered off, fuming as Hasheng forgot about that song in its entirety. Shame on you, bud. But yeah, Zuo walks in on these two that are left behind and interrupts them and takes Yi away to have a little one-on-one talk, because he obviously knows who Yi is. During the conversation, it appears that Yi has pretty much nothing to hide, as he states he's a merchant and he doesn't tell lies. In the meantime, Grainbutts is having her own little adventure, as she is looking for her stock beast Mian, but fails to find it until she finally does, and this time around the stock beast talks back, quite normally talks back to Grainbutts. And while it might not immediately seem too crazy that the stock beast and Grainbutts are talking to each other, it is a bit weird because of what happens next, as the silent lumberjack also appears, but instead of being the silent lumberjack, this guy suddenly starts talking. As he starts talking to Grainbutts, he also questions about the stock beast that she is talking about, as it's gone now, and he tells her that the stock beast is in the river. As he escorts her to the river, he also prompts her to go inside of the river, as the stock beast is apparently in there. The whole scene being very ephemeral and something being wrong with it, but Grainbutts is not noticing it and walks into the river, upon which a scene plays out which seems to be from a distant past, almost like an echo of a memory. We see a sky dyed in red, insects or whatever it is in the sky flying above, the sun appearing pitch black, and what appears to be a silhouette of grain butts, but essentially is a young woman trying to stop a grieving man with an axe from doing something, saving somebody. Something is happening. And the young woman gets addressed by the man in this memory with the name Zushi. But before we see anything more play out in the memory, Greenbutts gets pulled out by the sudden appearance of the of the little annoyed girl that we saw at the beginning of the story at the Shennong temple. These two appear to be some rather maybe old, maybe new friends, but they were friends for a while at least. After which, we proceed with another flashback. This flashback is from a recent past, as we see Yi, summer before he reached Dahuang, and he made contact with one Huai Tianpei, the very same person who we saw last time in Vernal Winds, and as a reminder, is the father of Bai Fu. It seems that Yi is after something in Tianpei's possession, that something being the sword that he is keeping on his person at the moment, the sword being the very same one that Chongye put a piece of himself, aka a piece of the Sui essentially, inside of. And Yi, for whatever reason, wants it. However, Tianpei is refusing and is not giving in until a final moment where Yi keeps presenting him with different visions of different people that are important to Tianpei in some regard, and finally stops him in his tracks from fighting back by the appearance of a vision of his daughter, which stops him, and we don't see the continuation of that scene, as did he give him the sword or did he not give him the sword? Meanwhile, back in present times, Yi meets up with Nian at the very same core of the mobile city that is being constructed, as they are discussing the current situation, and Yi definitely knows what Nian is building there. Meanwhile, Zuo, and he's offering his help in the completion of the project. Meanwhile, Zuo gets pulled rather to the side by Dusk into her little corner, her little domain essentially, and after a couple of words exchanged, Dusk gives Zuo a scroll that she painted. Essentially, he gives him a one-time use scroll that he can execute her powers with and trap Yi inside of. Meanwhile, Hasheng has his own little adventure with weird happenings and illusions and memories and potentially ghosts, as he sees an old woman who instructs him to pick up a hoe and till the land. As he starts tilling the land with the hoe, something starts to happen with him. With every swing, with every time he brings the hoe to the ground, he starts to age. And he ages all the way to a point where he is nothing but an old man, hunched over, gray hair, barely can see anything. But in the final moments of that vision, he does see the face of the old woman clearly, before he gets pulled out back into reality by Zuo, who wakes him up. Meanwhile, Shu is having her own little adventure as she retreated into her own little domain, her own little realm, as we see it being lush with vegetation and mountain ranges, all four seasons playing out amongst each other, and endless fields of rice essentially. In this little domain, Shu is having a little meeting with her sister Ling, as they are once again discussing the appearance and what Yi could be doing. Meanwhile, back in reality, Grainbutts is still hanging out with the annoying little girl who appears to be a Tianchi apprentice, at least, and the young girl is definitely very, very protective of Grainbutts for some reason. And also, Shu, returning now to reality, meets up with her brother Yi at the temple where the statue to Shennong is. The two of them are discussing Shennong, and also Yi stating that in recent times he was thinking and dreaming about Shennong, and also about the old gentleman that he set out on his initial journey, essentially to see Yan and become a merchant himself. Our youths, in the meantime, Zuo, Hasheng and Grainbutts, who all meet up together, and after persuading Grainbutts to disclose what she knows, start discussing the current happenings and what is wrong, and all signs pointing towards Yi being somehow at the center of it. After these scenes, we see yet another flashback into a distant past. This time around, this one being around Shu, as we see something that happened back in Dahuang before the fields got pretty much turned into what they are these days, and the region was still being slowly turned into the lush place that it is now. But back then it was nothing but craggly rocks still, or mostly at least, covered in snow, and the people of that region were in constant danger of the corruption from the north, of the demons essentially. However, we see the scene play out with an old woman that we just saw as an apparition pretty much appear to Hasheng in his vision, and the old woman is apparently setting out on a journey to go to the north to find some seeds, as she says, that could help them stave off the famine that is currently plaguing them and provide food for everybody, as the seeds in the north, who can prosper in demon corrupted lands, could very well be the very thing they need to survive. But as we see later, the woman did return. However, she did get corrupted along the way, and what appears to be by just a miracle and sheer willpower on her part, she returned back to her home, where the villagers will eventually bury her as she collapses onto the ground, and seeds that she found in the north fall out of her pockets. Meanwhile, Zuo confronts Yi and pretty much traps him inside of the scroll that was provided to him, making Yi's powers null and void, as he is now just a regular person inside of that scroll, and he cannot do anything anymore, at least for a short while. But on the outside, the demonic corruption seems to be creeping its head out of hiding slower and slower, and things start to appear dire and dire. As Nian states in a couple of moments later, in a moment of reflection of what is happening, she realizes that the demonic corruption wasn't pushed back or anything out of the land of Dahuang, but was in the soil the entire time, just lying dormant and or suppressed, more or less. She also concludes that the very reason, in a conversation with Dusk, that the very reason why that corruption was being suppressed was because of Shu, as it seems Shu was using her very own powers to pretty much keep the demonic presence at bay and not doing anything. But as she was doing so, she was also pretty much spending her very own life and consciousness to do so, as that is a very, very hard task to do over such a long period of time. But at the end, to fulfill a promise that she gave a long time ago, Shu wanders out into the fields of Dahuang, and in a moment of what appears to be self-sacrifice, pretty much evaporates herself into the clouds above, and gentle rain starts to fall and nourish and repair the land. But as rain falls, the scroll in which Yi is trapped in also breaks, as the ink obviously gets washed away from the scroll, and Yi, together with Zuo, escape. And that is where we left off last time. So, let's continue with today's part. And of course, we are going to be continuing on from our cutscene after stage 5, where we stopped last time, which is HSST2. That is titled Sew the Fabric. A roll of fabric could be cut into clothing, or set into motion a business that knows no end. Let's begin. Flashback. It's the hour of Cho. Who won this round? Gone for yourself. I told you I'm not very good at this. Then you should learn. It is not easy to meet you face to face. At a crappy temple, just as unrelenting as you are, you lock yourself away in this hut to stare at that board day after day. What do you see, looking at it? More or less what you see from your ledgers. There exist rules on the board, just as there exist rules outside the board. All under heaven live for profit and die for profit. Perceptive as always, Erge. Over the years, our brothers and sisters seem to have lived much more pleasant lives after discovering their interests. Our eldest brother seems to have eventually mastered Kung Fu and made his way north to guard the city there. Our eldest sister, on the other hand, dreamt 1,000 years away and roamed hither and thither, living a most happy life. All of us live as happily as we can be. Except her, you know the one. All these years, and I still feel sorry for her. Business must have been going very well for you to have the time and luxury to worry about all this. It wasn't until recently that I comprehended a certain wisdom and learned a way to live. Heaven and earth are merely a temporary lodging for all beings, while time is a transient guest that passes generations by. Man spends an entire lifetime only for a spiritual lodging and a persistent pursuit for accomplishments. Whether this lifetime is long or short makes little difference. If you were truly seeing everything through, you wouldn't be sitting here. I know what you're going to say. I can help you do what you want to do. However, I will need to borrow something from you in return. You're my second eldest brother. No need to stand on ceremony. What's mine is yours. Give me your life. Second flashback. From what I've heard, I came to Dahuang from the villages outside. That year, someone found a wooden basin in the fields with a child who barely knew how to speak. Most likely, he had drifted into the fields from the river that flowed outside the city. Good thing someone found him. Considering there was news of a catastrophe, it's not so difficult to make guesses as to what had happened upstream. You're a lucky boy, clinging on to dear life in a field of grain. We'll call you Hasheng, for grain stalks. This will be your home from now on. I later asked around in hopes of finding the village where I was born. I found a village that was completely empty. There was nothing but ruined houses and swaths of land covered in originium crystals. What happened to the people here? The land here yields no harvest anymore. Why? Do you see the black rocks? You can't grow food anywhere you find them. And if you can't grow food, people go hungry. Is there lots of land like this? Is there any way we can make these bad rocks disappear so we can grow food on this land again? Many people have spent many years looking for a way. Would you like to join them? Yes. It could take a very long time. You might never see the results, even after spending your whole life on the effort. Would you regret that? No. A lot has happened lately. The land I knew is now completely different. The old fields were almost renovated. Too bad harvest is cruel and forced these endless calamities upon us. The farmer by the fields looks up to see the rain falling onto his face. It feels cool and gentle. The withered crops in the field also stand up straight, their stalks and leaves returning to a crisp green color. It's Shennong. Shennong really is back. Wei, what are you doing? Lying around here. Wake up! Hey, wake up! Stop! What's going on? And why that get up again? What time is it? It's been half a day since we last saw each other. You had me check the crops in the granary and said you'd find the culprit behind all these storms in Dahuang. Why are you lying here? So what's the story? How are the crops in the granary? Were they polluted? Have you found the source of the pollution? You saw none of that? What? I went to the granary only to find the summer harvest all turned a strange red-black color. Not only that, but the soil in the fields is all crusty and salted. I have no idea what happened, but it rained just moments ago, and not only did the soil return to normal, but so did the grains in the granary. Almost like somebody used some tremendous originium arts to cleanse the taint. The taint underground? Who could do that? So we are safe now? This rain... Where is Shu? Where is... who? Your teacher! Where is she? We have a few teachers at the Tianchi bureaus. Which one are you talking about? What did you do? Whatever do you mean? She's gone. What are you up to? Why ask me? It has always been her decision alone to stay here and guard this place. When have I ever interfered in any way? Was it not the man who locked her away in this land for a millennium? Have you lost your marbles? Not only do you and the Wei Chi failure want to get yourselves killed, you want to drag all of us down with you. Looks like my little sisters have spent too much time and had too much fun in this mortal realm, to the point that they've forgotten who they really are. How much longer will you two keep up this act? pretending you're not different. Shut up! Dusk, you've been hiding in your paintings for so long, yet you are still as impatient as ever. Quite unbecoming of the world's greatest artist, wouldn't you say? And Nian, in all these years, I've never seen you so serious. Seems you actually care a lot about your siblings. I'm going to kill you! But as I told you, I'm here to help. Why won't you believe me? Didn't you want to assemble this vessel of yours that will bear the energy of our existence? The Faranmut's heart? May I tell you what it's missing right now? Stay back if you value your life. I really don't have the luxury of resolving this misunderstanding right now. You two will just have to forgive me for this. How come you can control the device? When did you... Our powers came from the same source. On top of that, I deliberately studied a few methods of dealing with my doppelgangers. But... This might perhaps be a little risky, and it comes with certain side effects. But that is something I will have to live with. Dahuang should face this crisis. They should not be allowed to rely on others giving their lives to resolve what they have sown. That would simply be too convenient. The man extends his hand, and a black bundle of rice stalks appears in his hand. Shape, will, and causality. The three of you together may appear as though you can stand up to even heaven itself. That is how our sister has always been. She believed that toiling away in the fields would always yield a good harvest. She believed the lands had more beauty than blemishes, more benevolence than wickedness. But why does the birth of new life always come with the sound of crying? When a frail new life is born on these lands, be it man or beast, the very first emotion it must feel is always fear. It is time to wake up. The man inserts the black rice stalks into the enormous device in front of him. Moments later, a heart begins to beat. Well then, that just happened. So, in conclusion, seems that Hasheng doesn't remember Shu anymore, which is interesting to note. And on the other hand, I hate that I'm gonna make this pun. But on the other hand, Yi has yeeted the two sisters somewhere. God, I hate that I made that pun. Oh, God. It's too easy. It's too easy. It's on the nose. But yeah, anyway. Nian and Dusk are poofed to somewhere. And the heart beats. Well, I don't know. What does our next stage say? Oh, goody. The title is Clouds Burn Red. Well then, it says, the heavens churn, the earth is red, the clouds roil with the color of blood. Well then, as a quick little extra anecdote here, this is only one single scene on this stage, so we're gonna do that, do the descriptions, and then move on to stage 7 where we will find the after scene. But let's begin. The cries of foul beasts waft through the window of the farmhouse along with the rays of the rising sun. A mother opens her sleepy eyes, the child in her arms tightly grasping at the hem of her clothes. She lets out a sigh and sits up, thinking of the events of the previous day, as well as the cries of her frightened child throughout the night. The young child rouses from his sleep when he notices his mother's departure. His nose twitches, and tears soon flow down his chubby cheeks. The father adroitly, skillfully picks up the child and stands next to the window, patting his back and lulling him back to sleep. "Hush, hush, there's no need to cry. Look out the window. There's nothing there at all. Look at the flowers, and look at our fields. Everything's fine, so there's no need to cry." However, the child bowls even louder, even stretching his arm to point out the window. The mother and father follow his gesture and look outside, where they see a strange, pale beast standing at the farmland's edge. It stares back through the window of the family of three. The silent lumberjack picks up his axe, and a wisp of tattered red cloth floats by. He rubs that coarse gash as if remembering something. A pair of strong, calloused hands, not quite bleached, but with distinct joints, coalesces with blood and mud. The hands tied a strand of red silk to his arm before they fell lifelessly to the ground. Those hands once lifted a heavy weapon. They once stroked his face. They once held a crying child. The hands' master has slightly darkened skin, and when she smiles, she reveals her white teeth and shallow dimples. He stands before the woods along the riverbank. Among the tree trunks are tied stripes of red silk, wooden placards engraved with blurry names dangling from them. A gust of wind blows, the branches sway, and the wooden placards make crisp sounds. A strange braying sound floats by, and the lumberjack half opens his cloudy eyes. They've returned. They shouldn't be here. What's wrong? An earthquake? I thought the plate hadn't been completed yet. What's going on then? Watch out! That was a close one. My head. What's happening? All the sky poles are out of control? The sky poles seem affected by some disturbance, passing over the people's heads in swarms, blotting out the sky in a manner reminiscent of an insect plague not seen in ages. Look at that! What's with the color of the sun? The people lift their heads and see that the sun has suddenly dipped down into the west, illuminating half the sky blood red. Everyone is stricken with a sense of fear. A primordial fear that has existed within human hearts since ancient times. Catastrophe, pestilence, disease, famine. This realm is no longer the home they have known. What are these things? Pests? How can this be? They're popping out of thin air, straight out of the ground. They're everywhere. What's going on? Why are these animals not listening? Are you okay?
I've never seen animals like these before. They almost look like they're not even animals.
They're more like the monsters from popular operas than pestilence beasts. They're even popping out of the ground? Let's give this a try. A gust of wind suddenly rises, and the monster's body is torn into fine threads. However, it snaps right back to its original form in an instant and continues to crawl forward. More and more monsters begin to rise from the soil. Wherever they go, crops wither, and the land dries up. It didn't do anything? Watch out! Zola! What are these things? Get back. This isn't something I can explain in a sentence or two. Zola plucks a strand of silk with his longsword, but before he can rise it to eye level, the silk thread disappears on the wind. Are they the same? Yes. The candle holder looks up toward the center of the city. A tower of white jade stands there, emitting an ominous light. The sky-bound white jade capital of 12 pagodas and 5 cities. The ancients once envisioned a city that reached the heavens, but now it has become a source of calamity. He did it in the end. How much do you really know? There's no time to explain. Sheng, do me a favor and rescue all the people here. Go gather all the farmers and have them stick together as much as possible. No, whatever you do, don't leave anyone alone. Remember, don't be afraid of them. Even if you have to force yourself, do not feel fear. What about you? What are you going to do? I'm going to shut down that device. You're doing this on your own again? This is my duty, even if I have to put my life on the line. What kind of talk is that? Did anyone ask you for your life? Why are you always up on your own pedestal, acting as if everyone's looking to you to save them? Well... Xiaohei is right. This isn't a problem you can solve on your own. It's you. What should we be doing now? This is happening because of the contamination on the north bank of the river. The flood allowed them to penetrate Dahuang's defenses. Don't panic, the Tianqis from the Chamber of Heaven's designs is on the way. But first we need to organize everyone together. Strength in numbers, that's how we'll look after one another. Come together and protect those in need. Let's get going, Grainbuds. Rang Van Qing, Qianbei. I have seen your name on the Sui Regulator's roster. I hung up those robes a long time ago. You suppressed the Shanghai Xiong and traced the criminal's master plan. You were the Sui Regulator's most storied candleholder of the last century. 40 years ago, you left the Sui Regulator to become a magistrate in Dahuang, and you've stayed here ever since. Why? My duty is to keep an eye on anything that might threaten Nian. However, Shu is not one of those things. Shu used her own life to cleanse the demonic contamination beneath Dahuang? She did. But by some unknown means, Yi forcibly powered up the core city with demon fragments, resulting in these strange monsters we see now. I failed to detect a criminal plan, a clear dereliction of duty. But I have heard that the Chamber's defensive line along the northern bank is imperiled. How can we allocate the manpower to defend Dahuang? You've got the situation right. At the moment, we can only rely on ourselves. These creations come from the power of that proxy, and are also shadows of the demons fueled by fear. This struggle is also one of courage and the human heart itself. How do we stop those monsters, though? The heart can't move without its limbs. The two Tianqi have already gone to sever the connections between the various plates and the core city. Our job is to protect the people here. I'll see it done. A candleholder's duty is to carry the fire that drives out the shadows of the Faranmut. However, the shadows that loom over the people do not come solely from Farenmoots. Light the lamp, and let it remain lit. Do not forget that. I'll stop him. I will. This is the depth that you must collect. Wouldn't be right to say, long time no see. You shouldn't have come back. At least you weren't the one who directly ordered my arrest. For Shu's sake, I can allow you to see her, but after that, be gone. Any further transgressions, however, and you'll have only yourself to blame for any lingering sentiments being set aside. Lingering sentiments? Sounds quite nice when you put it like that. If by lingering sentiments you're referring to trapping her here for a millennium to be your work beast, then... Your tone suggests you would prefer we went back to the days when Great Nian was hunting all of you? No, no. Life is self-centered and zero-sum, and that much is as true for beasts as it is for humans. I simply want to make a deal with you. I promise to you the successful completion of the 12 pagodas and 5 cities, free from the threat of demons and catastrophes. Additionally, the next 3 years shall be beneficent, such that you will have ample time to stockpile food and recuperate. In exchange, I ask that my sister be freed from this place. You make it sound like Dahuang won't be able to overcome this challenge without you. The demons run rampant, and catastrophes are capricious. You should be fully aware of Dahuang's situation. How do I know I can trust you? Is it not amply clear to the Sui regulator what our abilities are? I will do as I stated and uphold my side of the deal. If you pull out, however, I will be forced to collect other assets as collateral. Just know that I, too, have lingering sentiments when it comes to this land. Shu, I did promise to let you leave. You will do as you stated. But if it's my life you would collect, we'll see just what these demons' blasphemous methods can do. The energy core activated on its own? But how? It's not ready yet. These readings, is this a joke? This is enough to power a sizable nomadic city for 300 years. Out of the way, I'll deal with this. The energy core has gone out of control. He's taken control and is using it to create monsters. Spare me the abstract. Nobody knows this device better than me. On the other hand, Assistant Minister Ning, I don't need to remind you that the current situation is due to the failures of the Ministry of Rights and the Sui regulator. Out of control. Since the day I joined the Tianchi Bureaus and began studying engineering, the 3 words I've come to hate most are out of control. So I place a lot more stock in the Grand Commandment's discrimination over the meritocracy that the Grand Tutor speaks of. You'll have plenty of time to impeach the Minister of Rights after this crisis is over. Our top priority is to cut the connection between the plates and the core city. If we can't regain control at this point, then we must destroy the core city. I understand you don't appreciate the way I fawn upon the powerful figures, but I'm not so petty as to fail to grasp the overall situation. You can go now. I will stop the device. All by yourself? This is my project. My own projects have never gone out of control, nor will they ever. If it is to fail, then I should be the one to destroy it, and pay whatever price I must. You want to help me finish this project. Why? I find you a sagacious partner, Assistant Minister Van. I trust that our business will go smoothly. I see how much you value this project. The material aid I send is a token of my sincerity. And you want me to pay for those supplies, yes? That's fine. Name your price. You misunderstand, Assistant Minister Van. What are these baubles worth compared to you? I've forgotten. What is the annual salary a minister earns in the Ministry of Engineering? And how long would you like to occupy that position, Assistant Minister Van? Nothing to be surprised about. I know how difficult it was for you to rise from a humble scholar to a second-tier official. For all the hemming and hawing in the court, their plans amount to nothing more than profit, which is why you took such a great risk to help a certain Mandarin deal with the aftermath of Human. Are you threatening me? I'm only out to make a deal here. It is to our mutual benefit that this project be completed. Fine, I accept. You've readily agreed to the terms, but allow me to remind you that once you've signed this contract, you will have to pay the price, come what may. All under heaven live for profit and die for profit. Do you think the only thing that matters to me is this minister's robe? It's a lot of you who underestimate me. What's wrong? Why did you stop?
Sheng, I'm actually a bit scared. What's happening with all the farmland? Monsters are popping out from all over the place, like in the operas.
To be honest, I'm scared too. But I also know there are a lot of people even more scared and they don't know what to do. There's still something I can do. I can still protect them.
Big Buffalo, even though I always call you a stupid buffalo, you're actually the smartest person I've ever met. You know so much more than anyone else when it comes to farming. Which is why, no matter what happens, you have to swear to keep yourself safe. Your dreams will surely come true. Whatever you do, don't think nobody cares about you just because you have no family. It's just...
What's gotten into you all of a sudden?
I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm scared that I'm blurting out all the things that I normally keep buried deep down. If only Shu were here, she'd know what these things are.
Huh? Who?
What did I just say?
Who is Shu?
But there was someone with us. She knew everything.
What are you talking about?
I don't know. A couple days ago, someone stopped me along the riverbank and told me a story. All right, the riverbank. How about this song? Not a fan, huh? Is Come Home Soon, Little Flower the only song you like? Did I tell you that I got into a fight with Hasheng? He said that if I kept skipping school, all the good students would go off to Baijiao, but I'd have to stay here. So mean, right? Don't you think he's just trying to provoke me for no reason? What's wrong with the way I am anyway? I just want to stay here and wait for my parents to come back. Hey, why are you chasing me off again? Okay, okay, I'm leaving. Whoa, whoa! Watch where you swing that axe. Sheng, there's someone on the other side of the river who hasn't evacuated yet.
Grainbutts? Don't run off!
I'll be fine. The mute uncle only listens to me, so I have to bring him back. Everyone in Dahuang is gonna be safe and sound. I'll see you soon, in the center city.
Right then. The heavens are red. What else to say there? This stuff is happening here, right? Also, God, Grainbutts cares so much about He Sheng. It breaks your heart. She's so attached to the boy. It's both heartwarming and heartbreaking at the same time. But yeah, before we continue on to stage 7... Oh, and one other thing as well. The little effects with the mist creeping on from the right, the red mist. Oh, that was such a nice touch. I love it that they're finally doing more and more of these special effects on these scenes. They do add quite a lot to everything essentially. But yeah, anyway, before we continue on to stage number 7, we have 2 new enemies to introduce here. One of them being the Field Moose Bruiser. The more bountiful the harvest, the fatter the field moose. When these creatures grow 4 packs, even the Tianchi sigh, for they destroy throttle valves with frightening efficacy. Yep, that they do. Also, one thing that I noticed about them, first off, they are obviously called field mice, which also could be just field rats, but whatever. Doesn't matter here. What matters to me, however, is very interesting. The snout. It's from a mole, so these are part mole, part mouse. Alright, interesting. However, we move on to the other one, which is the Field Moose Flying Thief. And it says, the thing with field moose is that not only do they ruin farm equipment, they also take the loose parts back to their lair. Who knows, maybe they'll be able to build a nomadic city one day. Sure, they will. And one of them is gonna declare themselves the Field Moose King, and he will have a very, very attractive daughter called Vi, and everybody's gonna go nuts around her anyway. And more people are gonna... Maybe people will yell mouse then. Instead of rat. Anyway, sorry, I went on a tangent. Moving on to stage number 7, where we're gonna find our after cutscene, titled Dream of the Seasons. In dreams, seasons come and go. See again, born again. We do have 2 new enemies to introduce here before we head into our after cutscene. The first one being the Miasma. Says, similar to a stock beast in appearance, seemingly docile at first glance, but unlike other fabric constructs, they become aggressive towards people after absorbing the blight in the soil and water, so exercise caution. And the other one being the Skypole-Yi. UAV type comprehensive monitoring maintenance system on experimental plates, Skypole model Yi. Capable of completing tasks within the signal range of Model Jia, such as collecting crop samples, eliminating pests, spraying pesticide, and driving away trespassing beasts. Can also cause massive frame drops when appearing in large numbers. See next stage for more details. That actually didn't say there, for anybody who's just listening. But more on that when we complete stage 8. But for now, let's begin with the after scene.
Uncle? Mute Uncle, where are you? Don't try to fight those monsters, okay? Come out already, and let's get out of here together.
He's immersed in his own battlefield. The enemies he faces are unspeakable, his tongue rigid and dead inside his mouth. The people he loved have already left, never to see the next spring. He lifts his weapon high into the air. All he feels is that he has something he must protect. But what is it? The sound of a flute slowly drifts in. Grainbutts plays the flute laboriously.
Uncle! Uncle! I'm right here! Hurry, don't stay in the forest! Let's get out of here together! Let's go home! You think I'm scared of you? Get lost, you ugly thing! Gunkai!
A long axe lodges itself in the chest of the strange monster. It struggles to get up, but at least the silk strands fall apart and disperse onto the ground. Long after the axe had been released, the lumberjack's hands remain fixed in the motion of throwing his weapon. Unable to see clearly, he lowers his head and turns his ears, carefully listening to the sounds around them.
There you are, Uncle! Finally found you! I'm over here! Hurry! Come on over! I'll take you to safety!
The lumberjack continues to listen carefully and looks toward Grainbutts. He then picks up his axe again and turns to head deeper into the woods.
Uncle? Uncle! It's dangerous over there! You need to turn back!
Grainbutts brings her flute to her lips again, tries hard to steady her breathing, and begins to play another song. The flowers have bloomed, so hurry on home. Listen, listen, this I who calls you back. But the lumberjack does not stop. Several monsters lie prone in the grass in front of Grainbutts. His cloudy eyes are unable to discern the things in front of him. The world spinning endlessly before his eyes. The blood in his veins roars, drowning out all other sound, until a sharp cry pierces his ears like a needle. Ah! Grainbutts turns to try to run, but then she raises her flute again, and a sharper sound reaches his ears. The flowers have bloomed, so hurry on home. Listen, listen, this I who calls you back. The flowers have bloomed, and it's time to come home. He takes a step forward. A tiny white finger is holding his hand.
Uncle, let's go. You don't know how to get back, do you? Why don't you want to go back? Are you afraid you'll scare the others? I promise nobody's going to be afraid of you anymore. They won't treat you like a freak. If anyone tries to badmouth you again, I'll bonk them on the head with my flute. So, let's go back together, okay?
The red silk tie to his arm suddenly loosens and is blown away by the wind, floating lazily into the sky. Large teardrops roll from the lumberjack's cloudy eyes, but Grainbutts does not notice.
Run, Uncle!
How many more? Is there really no end to these monsters? All we can do is try our best to block them here. How is it possible to stop them from being afraid? Who's ever seen a battle like this before? A vast field sprawling in front of him, countless terrifying looking monsters continuing to sprout from the ground. Behind those two, a large number of people queue up in a long line and march slowly toward the city's center. Cries erupt from the team. The two Mutianshis barely manage to erect a defensive line with their Reginumarts standing between the people and the monsters. The ground beneath their feet shakes, and a few more cries burst from the crowd. What happened? The plate was just disconnected from the core city. Control of the various soil parameters in the experimental plate depend on the core city's power supply. Now that it's been cut off, the field will become fallow.
Where did these damn monsters come from? All our years of hard work ruined because of you! I've never been wronged like this in all my years here!
Damn right! Why the hell should we run from these? These beasts want to destroy our land and swallow up our crops, so we're gonna fight them to the very end! Come on, let's take the fight to them!
Be careful, everyone!
Someone picks up a hoe left in the field and turns to rush at an unknown monster. The hoe falls heavily upon the monster's head, causing the creature to stagger. The farmers desperately pick up whatever objects lie at their disposal, throwing stones and farm tools at the monsters. A haphazardly tossed bottle of pesticide shatters against it, causing the monster to whimper. It's working?
It's dead?
It's working! We did it! I get it now! These things were transformed from the pests in the field! Malakabaishe! Motherfucker, they're not monsters at all! Nothing to be scared of! Get her up! And let's get rid of these beasts messing with our crops! Others answer the call. More and more people picking up whatever tools they can get their hands on and joining the defensive line. Some even sing at the top of their lungs. Let the wild plains, rivers and mountains come. Harsh is the east wind, the frozen moon, heaven's fickle, raging thunder. May the scent of rice fill heaven and earth, north and south, and fear neither drought nor flood. If only I was the wind and spring rain, bringing spring to the people.
Uncle, don't stop here. A few more steps and we'll be there. Out of the way! Out of the way! Uncle, what's wrong? You need pressure on your wound. Don't worry, it'll be okay. We're almost there. I've carried injured bird beasts home before, and you don't look any heavier than them. Trust me, I can take you back. All of you, get out of my way. Gunkai! Stay away! Stay away from...
Her tiny body falls to the ground, the sound ringing in the lumberjack's ears. He braces himself and lifts his weapon again.
Halt!
Zushi.
Alright, come on down. Your mind has already reached its limit. Stand down. I don't want to have to kill another apprentice with my own two hands. Go back. There's a clever young lady waiting out there. We can't let her go without her parents. Even if she'll never recognize you again.
Rainbuds breathes heavily on the ground.
It's been difficult for all of you. I thought I'd head back to Dahuang to recover from my injuries, but imagine running into something like this. You better hope I don't get my hands on you, you needle prick.
The golden eccentric looks around and reaches for her belt.
Where's my fan?
The strange fabric seems aware of the danger and hesitates, not daring to draw closer.
My sorry disciples even ask how I'm not scared of these things. I flipped the question around. After killing so many of them, why are these things not afraid of me?
The eerie fabrics are letting out terrified wails. A billowing current of air sweeps up. the Tianqi's golden figure uplifting light and heat into a spatial distortion, incandescent white flames outlining the chasm in the wilderness. She snaps her fingers lightly. Long has she walked among us, countless demons has she subdued. Grow, flax, mulberry and fields, grow as the sun rises. Drive away all evil, and bring new light to heaven and earth. The cocoon has formed. It is time to weave. A foul beast flies by. In a domain not meant for foul beasts, in this place the sun, the moon, the stars, the wind, the forest, the rain, the snow, the mountains, the rivers, none of it is meant to exist in the first place. But this particular foul beast picks up an ear of rice, flaps its wings and tarries on the peak of a hill. Its heart beats and beats, as if something is about to burst out. A gust of wind blows by, causing the saplings to wobble. The rivers flow without cease, the water coursing. The mountains and rivers rise, the earth and soil rumbling. The trees plant their roots, their shadows swaying. As if sensing something, the foul beast takes flight once more with the ear of rice in its mouth, 2 seeds of rice falling onto the boundless paddies. Swish swoosh, swish swoosh. A pair of eyes open. A chaotic voice. You've come back. Well, couple of interesting things there. First off, that son of a gun entering the domain of Shu apparently, and doing something in there, something awakening. We'll see what that is in a bit, but also we get a bit of a kind of a big on the nose tip about the identity of, well, 3 people immediately in a span of a couple of sentences. From the old lumberjack appearing to be an old apprentice of the annoyed girl, in quotes, but also the annoyed girl being the very person by the name of Zhu Xi, who we previously heard being mentioned in that flashback scene back in part 2 of this narration. And from what is being told, at least if I'm not reading it wrongly or misunderstanding what is being told there, number 1, the lumberjack is an old apprentice of this girl. This girl feels like she is way older than anybody else, so question here being, who are you? What are you? Maybe not a Farenmut. We also do have, as a reminder, we also have long-lived beings in this game, so in this game's universe, so might be just something like that, but might just be another Farenmut, who the hell knows? We'll see if we find out by the end of this story. However, we also seem to also get a confirmation of the fact that the lumberjack is potentially maybe the father of Grainbutts in some form, or somehow related at least to her, or there is a connection. There is a connection. I have several ideas in my head that what could be there, but very interesting. But also what the girl says, she might not recognize you anymore, which definitely indicates that there is some kind of familiar connection between these two, and she just doesn't remember. As we do understand, Grainbutts is a bit of an enigma, so to put it. just like Hasheng's past is kind of an obvious one, but this one is a bit of a bigger mystery. But anyway, continuing on to stage number 8, our final part for today, titled Saw the Cause. The farmer swings his tools, and it spreads through the fields, mountains, and rivers. Let's begin. Pitch black. Unfathomable depth, without a shred of sunlight. The stifling atmosphere almost feels as heavy as the roof's own weight. The roof of a tomb.
What's going on? Why am I back here? Wait, old thing, still alive? I came to see you.
The sound emanates from behind the heavy door before her.
You've been sleeping for so long, and you're still as busy as ever. Drop the scary act already. Can you even do anything after lying here all this time? Nothing to be afraid of, right? Shangshu? Which mountain is this? Why isn't there a single road sign? No, what year is it even? Judging from the houses by the road, this looks like Shangshu before it went nomadic. Why does it look like the city I saw when I first got here?
Ding dong. A man hangs from a steep cliff with a rope, engraving a sentence with the hammer and chisel in his hands.
Hey! You up on the mountain! What you doing?
You don't know who I am?
Why would I?
It was I who designed and crafted this city.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
The catastrophe is about to arrive, and everyone's already evacuated. But the disaster will destroy all the houses I built. I can't let it happen just like that.
The 5th year of Jingyan, when I had just arrived here and stayed for 3 decades. Record of Shangshu City?
I'm carving how I crafted the city onto this cliff, so future generations will remember my achievements.
But the catastrophe is just around the corner. You're risking your life for this, but what if a thunderbolt cleaves the mountain in two? Wouldn't your hard work be in vain?
I couldn't care less. This is the only thing I can do. Why even bother living if no one will know of my feats?
How do you even live like that? Fine, just keep working. I'll disturb you no more. Wait, where does this mountain path lead?
I don't know.
It's you.
Sir, I wish for you to grant me a sword.
What for?
To save, to avenge.
I've told you my swords don't come cheap. What are you offering?
My life.
Again. I should have said no already. Do you hate me for giving you that rusty piece of scrap metal? What am I even saying? This is just an illusion.
But you do remember me.
Just thinking about that screenplay draft. I still can't help but wonder if the story would have ended differently had I given you a proper blade then.
How can someone so remarkable and knowledgeable show compassion to a nobody like me? A mere mortal life is honestly worthless to you.
Hey, don't go that far. I still like you mortals a lot.
You look at us as if you're watching a play. Your casual acts can add a little marvel to the show and change the fates of countless people. Sometimes you'll even be in the mood to join us for a few songs. But in the myriad of plays, you're the only one off stage. You've been alone all along.
Jeez, I didn't think I'd get this kind of hallucination. I'm tired, just take the sword. It's made for proper combat. Let me see if the story ends differently.
Sir, a young man asked me to deliver this package to you before the day of Dongxia.
Don't have the guts to see me in person?
I suppose he's passed on by now. The bag is empty. Countries turn to rust. A brief spark in the wind. A bubble gone without a trace.
What's this?
Sir, I've been anticipating this for a long time.
You've been waiting for me?
I'm puzzled by something that I'd like you to clarify.
Do elaborate.
I went to collect references at the edge of the city today and saw an odd foul beast perched by the riverbank. I've never seen a foul beast so beautiful. I was just about to whip out my brush and paper when it flapped its wings and vanished from sight. I tried to paint it from what I could remember, but I could not do it.
Just let it go. Some things are beyond your control.
It holds true for others, but I still call myself a painter for the time being, so I'll always want to capture it somehow. I've painted quite a lot these past few years. I always thought one had to paint plenty of paintings and see many sights to make life worthwhile. But I finally realized that paintings are ultimately inanimate objects.
What do you mean?
The scenes I paint turn into a passing cloud a moment later. The more I paint, the more insignificant I feel my paintings become.
That's only natural, no? One can only dream of seeing the entire land if one won't even make it to 100 years of age.
No, I think you still don't understand. Sir, I'd like to ask for some thoughts on this undeserving work of mine. We see myriad cities, from modern to rustic to a battlefield.
Is this a painting?
My painting. This is the view we ignorant mortals see. Even one like you, with all the views you have seen, are only a drop in the ocean when compared to the tumultuous changes this land has experienced over the last millennium. Please, take a good look once more. For we only have this one dusk. Hold brush, wind scroll, as besotted as drunk, one dusk to ash.
They're growing well. Did you plant all these? The people here did. As you said, I can't use my abilities to meddle with their growth. I'll disappear one day, but these people will still be here for a long time. You've worked so hard. It's been a while, Shu. How very strange. That brother of mine has been telling me he's seen you in his dreams lately. Why do you keep thinking about me? Are you getting nostalgic with age? You know how to make fun of me too now. The people here all remember a Shennong who compiled the 24 GNG solar terms, taught them how to till the land, and even risked her life to cultivate a vast expanse of frozen soil into fertile fields. How can I bear that title on my own? We achieved it all together, so why put everything on my shoulders? It's been so long. Is there still a difference between you or me? All I remember is someone taking me in when I was wandering about aimlessly like a child and giving me a home. She told me I didn't care about the differences between man and beast, that I should just live as a human.
I didn't expect you to stay here even now.
I promised you I would, to stay and guard this land so people wouldn't have to go hungry.
Oh, Shu, have you ever resented me? 1,000 years. How can you call this devotion? This is clearly incarceration. Even though your consciousness is gone, you're still trapped here by your ties to this land, rather than go free. All because of one mistake I made.
I don't resent you for it. Only myself, for not going north in your place.
Shu, you know I've never seen you as a Xian. The whole time we were together, I almost forgot that you were immortal. I only realized when we parted ways, I had my own selfish motives. A human selfishness. I wanted to beg you to stay, to continue helping the people here. All of my kin needed you. But I wasn't sure if you would love them as you loved me.
I'm afraid I've let you down.
So we failed in the end, right?
You never found the seeds, and I never managed to grow crops on originium-tainted soil. We couldn't even protect this land.
Man can prevail over nature, but when will it happen for real? Shu, do you regret it? You knew that everything I said would come to pass, didn't you?
Yes, I always knew.
You shouldn't have met me here. You're only a shred of consciousness left in this device, and I'm a memory within. I am you.
You're still here. I'm always with you. A command to want and rage, in greed for life and fear for death. I nearly forgot why I even created you back then. No place amidst high mounts or waters far, no matter to me free amidst the human realm. I've been muddle-headed for so long that I even lost track of why I'm awake. Whoever said you had to paint the entire realm to be considered an artist? Just paint a realm, and true it be.
The painter brandishes her blade, and mounts rise in succession. I am me, and what I see is all.
Wake up. The director can't be sleeping on set, right? That's crazy responsible. What's wrong with taking a snooze when you're tired? Which one are we shooting this time? Mecha Faramut vs. Faramut. Oh, isn't that the screenplay I stashed away in the bottom of my drawer?
You mean it's that bad? I swear this year is the last one.
Anything can be spun into a good story. That's what legends and strange tales are. I gotta ask, little lava. What makes you so willing to humor me for so long?
The legendary weapon you promised. When are you going to give it to me?
Sure enough, you're still after that. Would you miss me if I were to vanish one day without a trace, for good?
Nope. If that day comes, no one will remember you. The weapons, tools, cities, and those films you made will all vanish. You know that.
You're right. I shouldn't be seeing you here either. Yeah, you called it. The dumb stuff I wasted time on again and again all amounts to nothing in the end. But I can't help it. I just want to have some fun and leave some memories behind. Leave something behind and have fun. That's enough for me. Thanks, little lava. It was pretty fun making trouble with you at Rhode Island. Humiliating. I ended up giving myself a lecture with something I crafted with my own hands. Letting people go through these old and irrelevant memories just like that is really something. Well, enough of that. We answered that question when we managed to split off from Chaos. You're just a heart, so stop dreaming about taking us back in. We worked hard to be free from that pitch-black tomb. We're not about to go back to living under your shadow, old thing. So I'll... to bits!
There's too many. We can't handle them all. We might not even manage to save the nearby fields. The situation is dire. We should prioritize saving the people. Am I imagining things? They don't seem as fearsome as before. What's that sound? This plate is separating from the core city. As I thought, the vitality of these monsters is bound to Dahuang's energy core, so once we break that connection, they'll grow weaker. Hold on! Has everyone managed to evacuate here? We notified the entire city, but is everyone here? Everyone from residential section 1 to 4 is here.
Sections 9 through 12, all present.
Everyone from 6 to 8 is here, but we haven't heard back from the group dispatched to section 5. What?
They were on their way from the city center when they encountered a patch of farmland under attack. Things were going badly, and that's when we lost contact.
The energy core has broken down and our communication systems went with it. I'll go look for them. Wait.
You're always chide me for acting tough, but now you're dashing ahead of us? We don't even know how many monsters are swarming the place, and you plan on charging forward alone?
That's my experimental plot, and I know it better than anyone else. The residents there usually help me with the farm work. I even lied to them, saying my research was going well lately.
It's fine if you want to go, just take me along. I run fast too, I can help.
You're not from here, you've got nothing to do with the people here, and you're even a year younger than I am.
Hasheng was promoted to an intermediate Nongye Tianshi in the year 1101, at the age of 17.
You...
When I was looking through the intel on Dahuang, I checked the Tianchi Bureau's roster and found you're a year younger than me. So no need to act tough at such a critical juncture, boy.
Sharlai Jiatao, do you normally speak like this back home?
I never speak like this, Xinqiu.
Enough talk, let's go already. Was the legend a lie? The blurry rice paddies stretch to the horizon. This is a patch of living, fertile land. The wind plays ever so, the wave of rice a song. A nascent consciousness is born here, and a voice speaks to her. You're back. You seem exhausted. Are you all right?
So, you're already awake.
Where am I? Have I always been here? Why do I have memories from long ago? I saw so much.
War, death, plague, famine. The disaster from above the roof washes over the land, leaving only devastation behind, followed by endless war and upheaval. Civilizations perish, life fills with dread. Why am I trapped in here? Just who am I?
I feel so frightened. The outside is frightening. Pain. I can hear the cries of so many.
How can I put a stop to all this suffering? I remember now. Someone gave me a name. Sui.
I am you.
The weeds overgrow, drowning the entire land. The longest dark of nights condenses into this single moment.
No, you're just a shadow. My shadow. But it isn't your suffering. It belongs to the people living on this land.
No!
You fear because you haven't really lived yet. You don't know how this great land truly is. This world isn't frightening at all. But you've never seen crops being harvested or people cheerfully laughing. You've never seen countless creatures vying to survive, enduring hardship, and continuing to thrive. You should take a closer look if you get the chance. I am no longer an arrogant and lonesome Farenmoot, nor am I a soul adrift all on my own. I have lived a real life here, together with the infinite variety of life on this continent.
A drop of dew drips down, injecting life that spans across time into the land.
Sleep. Twilight red sets on the stalks. These earthly strivings kissed by dew. Millennia reap me now a single tender shoot.
Over here! Help! Stay away! What? Are we saved? Uncle Wang, why are you still here? Are you alright? Xiao, I knew you'd come back. Youngvilla, damn, these beasts just appeared out of nowhere and started chewing up all the crops here. But don't worry, we protected the plot well and didn't let a single beast pass us. Uncle Wang? It's alright, he's only fainted from shock. The whole field is sinking, inch by inch, and huge fissures can be seen across the fields in the distance. The communication equipment's not working at all. The two Mutianshis don't know there's still people here, and they've already begun disconnecting the plate. Let's hurry and move before it's too late. What a deep ravine! Have we been left behind? Pardon me. The young cattle holder carries the farmer on his own and leaps into the air, crossing the gap in just a few steps. You're amazing! Zola goes back and forth between the two separated plates, transporting one by one those left behind to safety on the other side. But the space between the plates continues to expand at a speed visible to the naked eye, and his steps gradually grow heavier. Until the last trip, when a gust of wind blows him back up as he almost loses his footing. Careful now. Many thanks. Everyone's safe now, so hold on to me and I'll bring you over too. There's more of them? Don't get distracted. You're using your arts too much. No need to worry about me. The students of the Tianchi Burrows aren't as weak as you think. The duo work together to repel a few monsters, but as they dispatch the beasts, the vertical disparity of both plates escalates before their eyes. The distance of about 15 meters seems an unsurmountable chasm to the two. Damn it! Are we stuck here? This plate is about to fall, so we best prepare for impact. Find somewhere with soft soil to hide in, and we might... I never noticed till now that Dahuang's plates were built so high. Zula, how many people did we save? Don't worry, I did a head count earlier, and everyone who was here has already made it over. Cheer up, we just have to find a way to make it back alive, and this rescue mission will be a complete success. The legends always say as long as everyone stands together, we'll make it through any crisis, no matter how dire it gets. Everyone's been taking care of me all these years. I've never managed to pay them back, but today... Sheng struggles to finish his words, and Zula realizes a bright red stain is seeping through from the other's white shirt. You're hurt? When did you... I'll stop the bleeding. Zula, let me give you something. Right now? This is my Tianchi apparatus with important data inside. You have to keep it safe, no matter what happens. Alright, I'll take it. Sheng ties an originium device tightly onto Zula's hand. He hits the switch, and the little thing rapidly unfolds into a kite. What are you doing? I was hard on you before, but I've realized you have a good heart. So I can't leave you here. The youth exerts the last vestiges of his strength, and a gust of wind rises. Zula flies into the air carried by the kite before he can even react. The plate below shrinks bit by bit along with Sheng's silhouette, but Zula can make out the shapes of a few remaining monsters on the field rushing towards the shrinking figure. I don't know where you came from, but I'm not scared. Huh? You awake? Hey, wake up! Wait, you hear that? Seems like he's still breathing. Make way! Nian? The docile stock beast does some concerned nudging. Hey, stop licking me. I don't have any treats on me. Sheng opens his eyes to find himself lying in a field, surrounded by a plethora of worried faces. He seems to have returned to a day he does not remember. The first day he came to this land. Is everyone alright? Everyone was about to look for you when Nian suddenly showed up with you in tow. But why did you... Thank you for saving me. The monsters... Did we beat them? Yes. The dark clouds scatter. The bloody afterglow fades. Another sunset sprinkles a golden twilight all over the fields. Is it over? It's over. We won, right? What Shennong did then, we managed it too. Indeed. Someone's managed to get the energy core under control. We did it. Looking back at it all, isn't this the birth of a new legend? Now that things have died down, we should head back. Wait! If my eyes don't deceive me, that's Plate A5, the Vanqing experimental plot! In an overgrown field nearby stands a single rice stalk. Zola, help me out! Why do you want to go back? It's still dangerous. What is it? It worked! We did it! Launching the 10,000 Qing of fertile fields! It's all's not lost! There's still hope for us! The youth happily carries the rice plant, with a slight lunacy to his laughter. What exactly... You'll probably just say you wouldn't understand even if I told you, right? I'll just take you at your word. For these creatures to grow, they must endure a calamity. Those that survive will break out of their cocoons. Those that do not will have their lives quietly snuffed out in the darkness. No living being can escape the cycle of destruction and rebirth. What exactly is he planning? The Faranmut's heart? We meet again. Your presence here must mean you figured out my plans, Lord Zuo. What are you doing? Weaving, as you can see. Weaving what? Something for sale once it's completed, of course. For sale to whom? It's standard practice to keep customer information confidential. What's that on the cloth? Scenes from across the country, or perhaps, to phrase it in your words, the splendor of Yan. I spent many years traveling across Yan, visiting every city, and Dahuang is my final stop. Only today do I consider this bolt of cloth complete. One should use dyes of an appropriate quality for a design this beautiful. Is there any material better than Yan's splendor to dye this weave? My 100 scenic portraits of great Yan. Countless bolts of silk and satin seem to descend from the heavens, every bolt a city, a piece of history, a facet of worldly plight. The nation's splendor? No, it should be the hearts of the people. Just look at how brilliant the brocade is. All the colors of their souls I've seen. How could I dislike this mortal realm? Alright, there is a bit to unpack here, but before we do that, very quickly, let's introduce our final new enemy, the very perpetrator that is responsible for all our framerate problems. Skypole Jia. Structural pillar type comprehensive monitoring maintenance system on experimental plates Skypole model Jia, capable of monitoring soil conditions, water source quality, and pest and blight status in real time. During emergency situations, can release the corresponding Skypole model Yi, aka the very thing that will kill your frame rate. But yeah, these things on this stage, when they get released at the end, oh boy. Look, I played this on PC, but the frame rate did dip. I don't think the emulator was keeping up. But yeah, anyway. Stuff happened on this stage, so let's quickly unpack it before I wrap this part up. And to do so, well, first off, the scenes with both, or rather with Dusk, Nian, and Shu were amazing because of multiple reasons. First off, they're all fine. They're all inside of the heart, essentially. And they are all seeing illusions and memory fragments of their past, and all of them are pretty much just making them ask, or rather asking them, who are you? And they give their answer essentially at the end. But the one that I find, first off, let's just say that even if it was just like a illusion memory or whatever, it was still very nice to see Dusk, sorry, not Dusk, Nian and Lava interact once again. It's been a while. I kind of miss those two together, not gonna lie. But also seeing Shu interact with the old lady, even if it's just like a memory or a fragment, this one felt a bit more real than whatever Dusk and Nian were experiencing, as theirs were just reacting back on like pretty much like a program. Shu's one, however, was way more feeling of a live person, or a memory of a live, actual memory or echo of an alive person. However, the very interesting thing about that one is that we get the confirmation of who Shennong was. The old woman that we saw in the flashbacks of the past, that also appeared as an apparition, hallucination, whatever the hell, to Hasheng, that very same old woman is someone that over time will be known as Shennong, essentially. So yeah, that's who that was. That's who originally Shennong was. As she states, a lot of stuff is being put on her shoulders, even though she isn't the one who is responsible for all the stuff that was done essentially in the past. But yeah, I like that part a lot, because it puts into perspective how much the story and the past of someone can change over the millennia if, you know, embellished, you could say, quite a lot, word of mouth. But yeah, she became essentially known as Shennong. Maybe Shennong was her actual name, who knows. Yeah, that part is very interesting. However, stuff is back to normal, and oh boy, that last image with the and all the fabric that he has sewn and all the experiences. I do wonder, after all of that stuff that has happened and stuff that was put into perspective, if he is not an actual enemy here, but more in like a gray area of how to put this. I'm just being the enemy so that the people wake up and they start doing something. They start correcting something and they start moving their lazy asses. Even though I wouldn't really call them lazy, but at least the people in this region, they are definitely trying to keep themselves alive. But I'm starting to have this feeling that Yi's entire purpose in this story is to give a wake-up call to not just the people in Dahuang, which is basically his home, as he stated, but also to potentially his sisters, mostly to Shu. But next time we will see how this whole thing pans out. As a little reminder, when we get to the final part will be including the usual stuff like the final battle stage, which is gonna be stage 9, I think, is the proper boss battle stage here. That one will be included as always. Also, and I'm gonna only read that once I'm done recording all of the cutscenes for this thing. The operator record that came with Shu, I'm gonna check out once I'm done recording all of the cutscenes. Then I'm gonna check that one out, record it for later purposes, but also see at the same time if the operator record, just like usual, is another epilogue to the story, and add it to the final part, so we'll have one extra scene in the whole thing. But yeah, that will be for next time, so please look forward to it, to the big finale of the current new, fresh Sui story. Let's see where this thing ends. I've heard people say that it has quite the weird conclusion to everything, but outside of that, I have no idea. Just weird stuff happens apparently. But let's see if I can unpack what the hell happened there when we get there. But for now, as always, thank you very much for watching, for listening. And yeah, if you like this, please consider leaving a like. Subscribe if you're new to the channel if you are interested in more Arknight stuff, and there's plenty. there is plenty on the channel, and more to come, of course. And of course, if you want to support me more directly, there are memberships on the channel with multiple different prices on them. And as I always say, there will be no video ever behind a membership. It's literally just there to support me more directly. To you know, ads are not the bee's end. But yeah, anyway, thank you very much. Hope you have a fantastic day wherever you are, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, bye bye.